Hello everybody, welcome to WhatCulture Gaming. I'm Scott, joined by Josh.
Hello, Scott.
Josh, my friend, at this point when we're recording this, the PS5 reveal is about 10-ish hours away, according to my calculations. And we were going to title this, what sort of games are going to pop off tonight. But it's obviously because of the different time zones, it might be the afternoon for you. So I know, angry commenters, it should be the afternoon. Just slot your applicable time bit into the end of our title so it makes sense. But I thought we would run down all the potential rumors and leaks, the biggest ones possible, because, if we're doing E3 energy, then you want stuff that's out of left field, that's ridiculous. And,
yes.
What better time, to be honest? So I'm going to start things off with the potential horror game from the Dead Space writer. And this is quite a new thing. Came from the Dead Space writer putting up a tweet saying that, as some of you know, I've been working on a big video game for almost 2 years. And then he said, in totally unrelated news, you should all watch the PS5 launch event. That tweet's now been deleted. But just to bring all of it full circle, I think, you talk about horror, I think it's got Anthony Johnston, the writer. Also wrote a multitude of other things, but wrote the original Dead Space. I think he is rebooting Silent Hill with Hideo Kojima, because Kojima talks about working on a horror property, or wanting to work on a horror property. So I think and you've got the Konami IP being trademarked on Amazon. So we've got Konami making a comeback. We've got the Dead Space writer back in the fold. We've got Kojima wanting to work on a horror property, and we've got Silent Hill also being rumored for the last it might be a couple of years if you go back long enough for the first time. What if all those things, JP, are one big old announcement?
I've never both agreed with you and disagreed with you so much. I'm almost certain, right? Silent Hill's going to be there. Silent Hill has to be there. I mean, we're going to say that, and of course it's not going to turn up. But in my opinion, Silent Hill has to be there because, like you said, there have been so many rumors for so many months now that they're obviously working on something. Like you said, Konami has been licensing the franchise out. They've been courting Western developers to work on this game. But at the same time, I don't think this is the game that this writer is talking about, and I don't think it's going to be Hideo Kojima's Silent Hills, just because all of the other rumors from the likes of Dust Golem and stuff like that seem to be pointing towards this being made by Sony Japan Studios, I think, and the team that worked on Gravity Rush, because a lot of the team that worked on Gravity Rush originally created Silent Hill. So to me, I think that if we do get Silent Hill, that will be the project, not Hideo Kojima combined with this Dead Space writer. Both of those projects in mind, I'd take either. Both of them sound really good and a far sight better than what Konami has done with Silent Hill over the past
The thing is, I tweeted out the thing about this Konami IP thing. Like, I'm hoping that's going to be Silent Hill. I'm hoping it's going to be something worthwhile. It's probably going to end up just being Pro Evo, because that's their one slot that they could do, or they could tie that into their gambling stuff and whatever. But to throw in alongside the Konami mention, could be the next Metal Gear, without Kojima. But Colin Moriarty mentioned that on a podcast a while ago. We covered it, I think it was last year, where he just sort of nonchalantly said he was referring to Metal Gear and Konami, and he was like, "Oh yeah, it's already in development." And people like us went, "Sorry, what? Like, there's another Metal Gear already, or what?" So that might be a thing. I don't trust Konami to be able to do another Metal Gear without Kojima, but at the same time, some of his original team didn't make the leap to Kojima Productions, so maybe there's a way.
Metal Gear would be wild. I think that would bring the house down. I don't think it's necessarily a good idea, like you said, without Kojima, even if some of the team is still at Konami. But at the same time, I think that would make everyone just go, wait, what? And like you said, there have been rumors about it being in development. I mean, it's such a valuable IP that I can't imagine Konami is just completely sitting on it. I mean, they made Metal Gear Survive just to try and get some money out of its udders for one last kind of go around, which did tank, to be fair. But to me, right, that would be mad, man. Like, it's going to be a crazy thing if that happens, but I'm not going to bank on it. Like, it would drop Jaws, but I'm not sure if it would be for the right reasons.
The thing is, I have to hope that because it's the next generation, because they've said about, we're prioritizing PS5 and new footage and new console technology, that they're not going to fall back on established IPs that much. I know that, I've got one thing in here that's a brand new IP if it's true, but a lot of these, obviously the biggest rumors are nearly always tied to returning franchises. We're not going to focus on it in this one, but there is a Legacy of Kain rumor doing the rounds because of a couple of interview snippets or whatever, which I would die for, but I don't think it's going to be that. But in terms of other stuff, the Ratchet and Clank is apparently making a comeback. Another thing from Colin Moriarty a good couple of years ago, where he said another second-party IP was making a return. I'm pretty sure Insomniac have talked about this before as well. But I mean, what do you think of them doing more Ratchet and Clank and not just another platformer from the company?
Well, I think the thing is, right, they tried to have another platformer act as a mascot for the PlayStation, and we got Knack out of it, and we got Knack 1, we got Knack 2, and it didn't work for them. You know, those games aren't the complete trash fires a lot of people sold them as, but it's not
Knack
a
1's
Crash
all
Bandicoot.
right, to be honest.
It's all right, but it's not a Crash Bandicoot, and it's certainly not a Ratchet and Clank, and I think after the success of the movie tie-in / reboot / remake thing, I think people are open to more Ratchet and Clank, material, because Insomniac are really good. Sony now own Insomniac and have the people on board to make that, as well as things like Spider-Man or whatever. So I think that makes sense as a name that could return, because although we'll probably get a Crash Bandicoot game in some form, that's not going to be a first-party Sony exclusive. That's going to have to be shared, at least at some point, with Nintendo and Microsoft. So this is a way for them to attract that kid audience or younger audience, which is certainly valuable when you're launching a new console. You want to attract all of the different demographics as possible. And Ratchet and Clank is long overdue a proper sequel, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, I love the 2016 one, but it's like if you did a new Ratchet and Clank and had it as a launch game, that's a way stronger foot to put forward than Knack 3 or whatever other new IP you can do. And we should also throw in as well, talking about sort of like hitting all the targets very quickly. Gran Turismo 7 is apparently going to be there. That was one of the earliest PS5 demos that was shown. I keep referring to it a couple of years ago because the system has been in the works for that long. There is a lot of them have been removed, but there are still some small snippets of footage of Gran Turismo 7 on YouTube, literally just a dude with a camera in the audience just filming this like press conference thing where they apparently showed off what was back then this brand new ray tracing tech for consoles. So there is that stuff. I already had down Metal Gear. Next big one is Resident Evil 8, which is apparently called Resident Evil Village, with the VII part making up the 8. VIII? VII? Pal. Something like that. And so apparently Resident Evil 8 is meant to be coming. We already know that we know that it's coming eventually, but as regards to it being tied to PlayStation, that will be something to reveal at the show. Me and you did the video on it back in April when there was this big reveal thing about supernatural elements and werewolves and more persistent enemies following you through the entire game. The thing that I'm waiting on with this, one is whether the name Village is true, and also whether or not it's going to be first or third person. I think we talked about it back then, but having now played Resident Evil 3 since then, where are you on the Resident Evil barometer? Which perspective do you prefer?
Well, I'm still a huge fan. Resident Evil 3 for me was a dip in quality, but I really loved 7 and I really loved 2. And like I've been saying in these videos for a long time, I want to see the gameplay established in 7 get another shake, because I was a huge fan of the first-person perspective and the kind of different approach to horror. It was certainly more Western influenced than the previous titles had been. So I want Resident Evil 8 Village, if that's what it's called, to kind of continue in that direction. And all the rumors seem to point towards that. Apparently this was originally going to be a spin-off that is now a main title. It popped up on Amazon, I think, yesterday when they had a big bunch of leaks about placeholders for PlayStation 5 titles. That was a game that showed up. We've heard a lot about it this year. If there are any that we've talked about so far, this is the one that I think is locked in and will be one of the only ones that if it doesn't turn up, I will be genuinely surprised to not see it, more so than I would be surprised to actually see it.
Yeah, I mean, Resident Evil 7 obviously has that tie to PSVR. Like, I obviously Resident Evil 7 is available elsewhere, but it's kind of one of the only games that you can look at and go, you should play this in VR. Like, if you're on the console side, you should play it in PSVR. So it's a big old deal. The last two, one of them is Bloodborne 2, which is one of the first sort of, like, Hidetaka Miyazaki has talked about how the rights sit with Sony and not him, and it's not up to him whether they do another one. So I think if Sony wanted to do an exclusive FromSoft game, it would be this. We already know that Elden Ring is coming. I keep forgetting Elden Ring's coming later this year.
I know, me too.
But they need something else after that. So I think, Bloodborne 2, what do you think?
Oh, I'd be all over that. That would be instantly my most anticipated game of the decade, I think.
Really?
Man, we've talked about this before. I love Bloodborne. To me, that's my favorite Souls game, even better than Dark Souls in my opinion, and I bloody love Dark Souls. I know. It's just the world of Bloodborne gets me a bit more. That kind of Lovecraftian, cosmic horror stuff. Oh, inject it. But Bloodborne 2. Sorry, go on.
I once referred to Bloodborne, and I routinely refer to Bloodborne as Dark Souls with a dash. That was me back in 2015. Somehow didn't get killed.
every time you do that, a sort of, what's the opposite of like an angel getting its wings? An angel being clipped of their wings. It's the opposite of It's a Wonderful Life is what I'm trying to say. It's a terrible life. But no, Bloodborne 2, I'm surprised they haven't done it already because like you said, even though From Software have been working on other games, they have a team. I think it might still be Sony Japan Studio again. It's one of Sony's studios that worked on Demon's Souls, worked on Bloodborne alongside From Software. So they have developers in-house that know how to make these games, or at least help to make these games. So I'm surprised that we haven't seen them take the project on fully. I'd be all over it. There were rumors of a Bloodborne remaster for PlayStation 5 going around the other day as well. I don't know what that's about. I'm not a huge fan of that idea. Just give me a proper sequel.
Yep. I mean, well, the Bloodborne remaster thing, Nibble on Twitter shared that and said it's going to be 4K, 60 FPS, like just sort of like a more bog standard quote unquote approach to a remaster of just touching it up. But I would imagine if they were going to do the Bloodborne 2 thing, they'd roll out the trailer for it and then be like, and by the way, Bloodborne remaster is available right now. You can go play that in liquid butter frame rate. The last thing, which is the big thing, which is the new IP, is the new secret studio that Sony have formed that everyone knows about that they haven't detailed, but the various staff members have tweeted from it. So this is a studio made up of ex-Rockstar and ex-Naughty Dog devs, and we don't know what they're working on. So that's just the blown wide open thing, where they can just come out and say, look, we have a new PlayStation 5 exclusive from these veteran developers, and it's this thing. I guess to end on, what genre do you think they should go with? What do you think they'll put together, considering the caliber?
Dude, I don't know. I was talking about this in the Chatty Faces, I think that went up the other day. I want to see Sony just tackle more genres going forward. I want to see like more first-person shooters, more driving games, stuff like that. But I think because they haven't done much in the way of kind of futuristic sci-fi that I can think of off the top of my head, I think they might go down that route. I mean, we've had Savage Starlight being teased from Naughty Dog for a long time and stuff like that, but nothing has ever really materialized in that genre yet.
Yeah. I was going to say, when you said about like just Sony sci-fi stuff, like I thought of Gravity Rush, but I mean that's still kind of steampunky. It's not it's not like full on cyberpunk, which is obviously like the in thing right now. I would just hope for something that isn't an over-shoulder third-person thing with like light open world elements and collectibles and slow narrative segments. I want something completely different, and obviously it's on them. Invent a new genre, do something cool, do something that makes us go, oh my god, that couldn't have been done before, and hopefully it's not.
We're not asking for much, are we? We're just like, invent a new genre, do something entirely new.
Just do it. They've got 3D audio, they've got all this haptic feedback stuff. I'm going to fight the trigger to fire a bow and arrow. Like, give me something that I haven't seen before. I don't care what it is, as long as it's something fresh. While I mentioned Gravity Rush as well, go play Gravity Rush, not just you, everybody. Gravity Rush 2 is phenomenal, and no one talks about it, because it started on the Vita. Play the Vita as well while you're on. But yeah, let us know what you think down in the comments below of what you want to see for the PS5 reveal, what sort of IPs you want to see make a return, or do you want to see new stuff overall? Also, you can pop back just after the event has streamed for me and Josh's immediate thoughts. We're going to put some videos together straight after, and we'll have more coming up in the following days, obviously, because there'll be so much to break down, hopefully. For now, though, I've been Scott from WhatCulture.com.
I've been Josh from WhatCulture.com.
I'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.